I'm
like
sorry.
a questionnaire.
Sorry, can you repeat that? Oh, wait, hold on. Screen. Okay, sorry. Yeah, can you repeat that?
I said, I just feel like you have a lot more leeway than you think you do. And that, like, do you take a pre-questionnaire before you do any evals? Like, do you even ask, do you consent?
Only for non-work related injuries.
So you don't get consent for work-related injuries.
And once they sign it once, it's good for until they're fired.
Is it like a template that the customers made for you to use?
I honestly haven't used it yet, so I don't know. No one's given me it. I have no access to it right now.
Okay.
It's not a good situation. So as you can see, I have so many other hurdles to overcome that I just like don't feel super optimistic about even beginning to apply things. But like I want to, clearly.
What EMR system do you use?
It's our internal proprietary shit.
Oh, is it ATI's?
Yeah.
You can put that in there. There's a place for it. I worked for ATI. We used it.
Maybe.
Spencer, I got a question. Have you gotten a chance to journal or write down for yourself all the hurdles that you see?
No.
Maybe it would help. And I'm not trying to be facetious. For me, one of my tactics is if I feel overwhelmed and I'm just like, well, this is never going to change. If I write it down, I can see, okay, well, this one is not going to change just by me alone. This one would have to take this, and this person to change. Wait, this one is not as bad as what I thought. Maybe we can tweak it and just do steps, right? So gradual progressions versus we have to change everything all at once. Try it. Don't try it, but it's an option to at least put your thoughts into a sequence to see what answers pop out from there.
I will say, I think part of the other problem is that I'm being mentored right now from the current CEIS there, and it's kind of weird. She's like this mixture of us, like progressive, like gung-ho, like things need to change, but then she's also very, very old school and very willing to just roll over and have her belly rubbed like a submissive. Like,
well, she's leaving, right?
Yeah. So,
okay.
so obviously there's going to be change when she leaves, but right now she's training me to do things the way she does it. So I see these things and I'm like, meh, okay, I'm going to smile and nod, but.
Well, then just keep that attitude then. She's going to leave soon, so just keep it in your head that's not what you want to do.
And is she still with the company or is she gone completely?
Oh, she's gone, Zoe.
Is she embedded deep in the company where she's buddy with your manager?
I don't know their relationship.
Okay. If you don't think that, then what's the harm in questioning her? Be like, hey, I'm in training. I want to do the best job I can. Why is it like this?
Well, it's because.
Why does it have to be?
Because the whole, like, her being a submissive, she has talked about basically, you're not going to get anything done here. Bottom line. Because I've been like, hey, that needs fixing. Hey, that needs changing. Hey, let's do this. Hey, let's address this. And she's like, you should probably just shut the hell up and do what ATI tells you to do. And that's not an ATI problem. That's her being a victim of the culture of the client company.
Right.
To be honest, because HR has all the power. HR makes the calls. HR decides whether or not ATI even has a client. So it's a political game that I have to battle before I even start worrying about these things. But if you guys have suggestions.
So make that list that Annette's talking about and like find what is the important ones. And then also if you shoot it out, like, because I know I felt the same way when I was in your shoes. And honestly, when I would bring these up to the professors, they're like, so like you can do that. And I'd be like, no, you don't get it. They're telling me I can't. Like I almost thought I wasn't even going to be able to do this program or not. And I was ready to quit my job to do the program. Like when we first started, because my company was just giving me so much pushback. And it like I'm not allowed to use the word pain in my soap notes. I'm not allowed to, like, there are so many things and so many, like, your hands are tied behind your back. Like Annette was talking about putting a trash can up there. We're not allowed to dictate where trash cans are because there is a union company that does that for us. And they've actually eliminated the number of trash cans in the building so that way that those people do not have to spend as much time collecting the trash. And there's actually like near misses that they call because the trash is piling up so high because the certain company actually isn't allowed in the building. Like, we have so many of those ridiculous, like, I would not be allowed to just put a trash can somewhere. Even. And we have so many of those ridiculous things, but there are ways to kind of go around them and limbo under them and things like that I think while your hands might be way more tied than mine are, because it doesn't sound like your company's as motivated to prevent those injuries in the first place, where at least I have that on my side. I think you can make more change than you think you can.
Right. I think my biggest stress, though, I'm going to make a change. I'm confident in my abilities and my motivation and in my relationship with the EHS person. I think my biggest stress comes with the relationship of where I'm at right now to school, right? Like, we have this project coming where we have to implement something and we have to write these papers and do these things where we're actually applying things to 5 people. And yes, I will be able to do that. And I will do that at some point. Just, I don't see that happening this semester or maybe even early next semester.
With with the PROs, like you were saying?
Yeah.
That's just a history question. If there's anything on the history in your soap note, that's where you put it.
Right. I'm just thinking in terms of like time efficiency and application. So like, what kind of questions can I ask? What is something that will count toward getting the project done while still making even just a slight change in my clinical practice?
Even the global rate of change would work, or you could get the smiley face chart. That's a PRO.
But then I guess with the smiley face chart, how do I put that into a predetermined EMR system?
Do you have a current status box? Like, is there any boxes where you can type stuff in?
Yeah, they're kind of limited on what they want though. But yes, I can. But for pain levels, even though we're not allowed to say pain, but it says pain level on the EMR, don't ask me why. They have a at rest, activity, and then at worst. And it's just like a drop down box, like either 1 through 10, or it's 0 through 10. It's not even 1 through 10, it's 0 through 10. And then it's not, or the other option is not asked.
Then at the bottom on the little thing, you could just say at rest and at worst, calculated by whatever the name of the smiley face chart is. You're not actually adding any patient information or anything, so I don't see why they would get mad at you. You're just kind of signifying that, hey, I used an official one instead of your made up one.
I missed this. I'm sorry. Who reviews your records?
I don't know the official person or people, but they're not doctors. They're not.
Okay. So
dedicated to it.
this is a risky move, but if you don't plan on being there forever, you could always play the, oh, I didn't know card. So do what you normally would do with any patient. And then if they come back and say, don't do this, honestly say, I'm sorry, I'm used to working in this high school or college setting. This is what we do. This is a learning curve. Thank you for showing me grace. And then you don't do it again. But I mean, I think that's a nice way to not burn bridges. And I'm not saying lie. Don't do things that you know are going to cause a fire, but test your boundaries.
That I have a 13-month lease, so I got to make this job last 13 months.
You will. I'm confident you will. You're not going to be going in guns blazing where you're going to burn bridges. I don't see that happening from you. But be okay with testing the waters and trying to, I don't want to say get away with it. That sounds horrible, but
that's what it is. What can I get away with before I get in trouble?
Exactly.
And like you were saying, though, your mentor right now is coming from the place of frustration with this company. So you don't actually know for sure what all she's done and what exactly happened when she did it, or in what, you have no context whatsoever.
Right.
And so maybe ATI actually will have your back on all this stuff, or maybe the customer is more okay with these things. Maybe she just didn't approach it the right way. She wasn't good at talking like the numbers rather than like with the people who care about the numbers more, or you don't know how she went about things, or if she went about trying to make these changes in a practical way, or maybe she was just got there and is told everything you've been told now, and then was like, well, crap, now what am I going to do? So I'd say, like, have the open mind about it and figure that out for yourself. Figure out what you, like Annette was saying, figure out where those boundaries actually are for yourself, because you're getting her boundaries. Unless it says it written on the paper that you signed or in your standard operating procedure, whatever.
Hasn't been updated since 2015. But
Well, great. There's a lot of room for all sorts of stuff, I bet, then.
That's a really good point, Julia. I like that, how you said that.
yeah, I just have to, again, it comes down to me reading it and being shown I don't know where some of my things are. Like today we had a heart attack and it was called as a code blue. They asked me to bring something, I don't even remember what it was. And I was like, I don't know where that is. So I just went to it anyway. I didn't even grab whatever they wanted. I just went and we handled it. It's like they don't show me things that are necessary. So I don't feel like I have all the tools. I'll figure it out. Like I'm going to find all the tools. But again, it's all that learning curve. And yes, it's going to happen. Again, I'm not worried about that. It's just time sensitive issues.
I'd also say definitely reach out to professors if there's specific assignments you're having difficulty with, because they'll give you some leeway on how to go about doing them. And they even, like, when I wasn't able to do the teaching assignment for my site, Dr. Eberman she gave me like 5 different options to choose from how to do it that I wouldn't have thought of. And, or even the whole, a PRO is actually history questions. Like, that didn't click in my brain for some reason. So, and then presenting it that way, I was able to get approval for that.
So let me pick your brains, all 4 of you, or 3 of you, 4 of us. So one of the CROs I want to do, obviously, is Goni. What are some other CROs that you guys are doing, just so I can kind of get a feel for, like, if you have ideas, or if you came into this expecting ideas, we can talk about them, but
I don't use the traditional ones. I use the functional status because OSHA really likes that as in their wording, if you will. So able to do squat to floor to pick up product, or able to do whatever, overhead reach to third shelf to pull product. So I explain what I'm doing in my clinician rated outcome measure, but I spell it out, or I write it out, as opposed to saying I did this test. Does that make sense?
It's you doing a functional analysis, like just like a test, like do this.
Mm-hmm.
And
But
in your
yeah. Mm-hmm. I don't know where I was going with that. Sorry. I had a thought out. It'll come back to me.
Sorry.
So I was going to do Goni. I was thinking of doing that anyway, because I have a lot of people who come in with limitations of range of motion. But I was going to use like an app. Possibly I've been working with that a little bit, trying to see if I can get good enough with it to do that. But I do like your idea of functional, because that's also, if I could find one for upper extremity, because that's like 99% of our injuries.
Somebody in our group in our cohort last semester posted in Howden's class the box test or the pegboard test. Do you remember? Who was that?
I don't remember. I do have experience with the pegboard one. They did it as a screening in Toyota. But I don't have the tools for that. The box test, well, see, we don't even have anything to put the boxes on. Like, we don't have a shelf or anything even.
Do you have a file cabinet?
One.
How tall is it?
Let's go with about 5'8". It's a couple
Okay.
inches shorter than me.
That may be, I mean, not perfect, but it's
Well, how
close
tall is
to
the
it.
box supposed to be? Because you can just lay the file cabinet on its side.
It's a massive metal, like 4 foot wide.
But it's 6 foot tall.
A little bit shorter than that, yeah.
So I guess it wouldn't work for a tall person. It would only work seated. You could try it having them seated if you're just looking at shoulder range of motion. So have them seated and see if they can reach up.
Or I feel like there was a reach one we did at Toyota that basically all I would have to do was tape and like marker. I'll have to look it up. Can't remember. Something like that. I could put tape on the wall and use the.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I do the same thing. I just did functional testing today actually to finish up a rehab. So I do that, and then I do goniometry, and then I also do just measuring swelling because I've had several knee injuries. So I just do that as well.
Oh, I mean, I guess I kind of. That's a good one. That's a good mention there because I guess I sort of like inherently mix
Yeah.
girth measurements.
It's like a basic tape measure and just measure their swelling.
I did that already today. Look at
There
that.
you go.
Hey.
Got it.
Yeah, I guess my only other question with the functional testing is like, do you have anybody who has a shoulder injury? Do you have like a test? Is it the test that you're administering? Or is it
For
specific jobs?
two of the patients today, they've been doing the lateral hop test. And then like I have them count how many times they're able to do it. And then like I see if their numbers increase over a week. I kind of like that for lower extremity.
Okay. See that?
Yeah.
I don't do job specific because while there are some differences between the jobs, a lot of the positions are pretty much the same because they're actually all working on the part. It's just in different stages of being completed. So like the wing is the same height the whole time it's going through the factory. But that would be interesting, I think. The funny thing is we use like FMS and the balance test already. We just only do it with our job conditioning classes, not with symptom interventions, which I think is kind of funny. So then now I'm trying to translate that into symptom interventions instead of just job conditioning.
You're going to use those for your project for Dr. Games this week?
Not answering that question. But yeah.
Well, that makes me feel a little better about at least the CROs. And I guess I just have to reevaluate my life when it comes to the PROs or something.
You just got to get really creative. It's all about wording. You already knew that. But
can it be as simple as, let's say I have any sort of upper extremity injury, and I ask every single upper extremity injury, does it hurt when you shampoo your hair? Or something like that. Does that count?
Yeah.
I would, like, technically that's a patient-rated outcome, but I mean, this is just personal. If that's all you can do to get it done, then get it done. But I personally would want to use one that's got a little bit of backing than like just taking one question off of like the quick dash and asking that. If that was your option, I would pick a different PRO that has just one question.
Yeah, I don't think there's going to be one patient-rated outcome for every shoulder injury, especially just, I'm guessing there's different age ranges that you have and different job functions. I mean, they're not all doing the same job, right?
Right.
So their roles are different. But yeah, like Julia said, be creative. Because essentially you're doing the patient rated outcome to see what is hurting them and if your interventions are helping them. So to see if your interventions are helping them, you've got to find the root of what really is causing pain. So have you gotten a feel as far as if people have pain during a certain work activity, but they're scared to say it? Or you were walking through and you see somebody wince and you know they're hurting, but they're just keeping quiet?
I haven't noticed that latter part, but yeah, I mean, people have pain doing things, but then I'm not a big KT tape person, but I'm actually doing that for my integrative health project. But this current person, she uses KT tape to essentially like make them feel loved.
Okay.
Fixes them. I don't know. It's a weird situation.
So is your biggest hang up on the PRO time or documentation?
Time, 100%
Okay.
time. Documentation, yes. I'm sure there are squares where I can type that crap in.
Okay.
It's just a matter of doing it without getting fired.
I would say even something like the global rate of change would be great. It's literally just, since this initial evaluation, what number would you pick based on your, pick a number basically. And then it's got listed out what each number represents. And it's quite a lot better, moderately better, significantly better, a lot better, whatever all the adjectives are.
Do you have the PDF for that?
Huh?
Do you have the PDF for that by any chance, or did I just Google it?
You can just Google it. It's free.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just printed some off the other day.
Yeah.
Or I could print Tim's PRO that he posted in our group.
Yeah, it was very nice.
I feel like this was a lot about me. I'm sorry, guys.
Do not apologize. That's the purpose of this, is that we collaborate to help those that are in a unique situation and want a impartial ear or opinion.
All right. Does anybody else have any other future things that they're really wanting to try to implement? One thing that you really want to do. Obviously, Spencer, you want to implement more PROs.
Or everything.
More everything. I'll go. Me personally.
I just want garbage cans.
Can you measure the effect of that?
I want to eventually implement a prevention program for next year's basketball team. I would do soccer team, but it's almost a little late. So I'm going to implement a screening tool when preseason comes to a close for the basketball. And then it's going to be the triple hop test. And then I'm going to look at the data over the basketball season. That's my goal. And then from that data, see if there's a need for a prevention program and then go from there. But I already sort of ran the idea by Powden and he was all about it. So I guess that's going to be my project. But we'll see how it goes.
You have a plan.
Hopefully, yeah.
Somewhat.
Are you going to have anybody helping you testing, or are you doing the entire
It's just me and that
thing?
by myself.
One woman show.
One woman show. Yes.
I
But luckily
didn't
the basketball
know if you're going to train any coaches to help you.
Can you type whatever you're trying to say?
Well, I didn't know if you're going to have any coaches help you.
The
Oh,
coaches
sorry.
are super nice.
My internet was spotty. What were you saying?
The coaches are super nice. I could suggest having them help me if we want to make it a quicker process and make it over 2 or 3 days than a whole week trying to get the athletes together. But I can see the girls basketball coach saying yes and helping me. The guys basketball coach, super nice, but I don't know. For some reason, even though it's a tiny school, I never see anyone. Like everyone is just like, because everyone has like 5 or 6 different roles in this school because it's so small. So like I never see anyone. It's really hard to like get people like to do stuff because they have like 5 other jobs. And that's like kind of the way the guys basketball coach is. So the girls maybe not so much, but the guys is yes. So we'll see. Maybe.
As long as he signs a paper saying you have that conversation, then that's another job that he's got.
Said yes. That's true. Very true.
I feel like Annette might be trying to say something, but I think she's gone.
She's frozen.
Bye, Annette.
Oh, anyways.
How about you, Julia?
So when we were looking at, or for this week's assignment in, I don't know what class it is, the prevention one.
EB class.
Yeah, that one kind of tripped me up for a second because I try to make these things obviously as like implementable as possible, but I'm not allowed to give out handouts that aren't pre-approved by the customer, and they actually already have all of them already made. And I just don't see how I could implement a prevention program with like employees from a symptom intervention standpoint. However, our job conditioning class is a prevention program, as are the pit stops. So we already kind of have prevention programs. And I can't take any more of the, I can't grab a whole group of employees to come in and do this prevention thing. That's what our job conditioning class is. And I can't do that more than twice a week they're already signing up. We're having a hard time getting them in anyway, so they wouldn't sign up even if I could. So that one kind of, and that we can't hear you.
You're gonna have to type, honey.
Maybe somebody put that in the chat.
The idea of like a hold on, I got you.
Okay.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yeah, actually.
Okay, sorry, I had to charge my phone. There. So my question was, how do they feel about like a mandatory pre-shift stretch time, even if it's just 5 minutes at the start of their day, they have to report to a stretch.
That's actually a kind of a good idea because they already sort of have that, actually. It's not mandatory, though. It's voluntary. They cannot make anything mandatory. Thank you, unions. Some groups do already stretch, and their managers use some sort of inner system monetary reward thing for each week that you've completed stretching every day. You get a certain amount of points that translates into money some weird way. And so that's already happening to some degree, but only in certain areas, and only in areas where we have the managers like complete buy-in, not overall. And of course, the areas that we have managers complete buy-in are not our high injury areas. So that would be an interesting idea to try to get maybe a higher risk areas manager on board with that. Because they all
Who leads this stretch?
So it'd be usually one of the employees, maybe the leader. So they have employees, team lead, first line manager. I don't think I'm technically allowed to say anything beyond that. But as far as system organization.
I'm going to tell you guys how to put proprietary secrets.
But there's more managers, but it just keeps going with managers, basically.
Yeah.
I usually only interact with the employees and the team leads because they're the only ones that actually get stuff done.
Do they have a background in stretching, or that is every day it's just whatever they feel like stretching?
So their background is going through our job conditioning class. Basically, they'll take the warm-up we do from that and do it out on the floor. Okay. And then we also have what's called it's a proactive service we can do that's called Train the Trainer. And so then I am allowed to spend time training team leads or whoever. We also have well-being focals or safety focals, which are basically just employees on the floor who have taken on this extra job of trying to promote safety or well-being programs. And so those are typically the people who lead them. And then they're trained by either me or they've gone through job conditioning or something along those lines. So that's actually a really good idea to try to maybe implement that. Possibly.
Train the Trainer was something we read about or watched this week, wasn't it?
Possibly. I did all that on Monday. The watching. It was a video. It was a while ago.
I haven't even really covered any of it yet.
That would change a lot of that project, though. So I did balance I was going to do balance because the majority of the people I work with are older. And so in thinking of long-term health, the reason people end up in retirement homes is because they fall because they no longer have balance. So, and they have to go up and down steps and walk over cords and stuff like that at work too. So balance was applicable. However, the people that I'm specifically thinking of now are a lot younger and would probably kill the balance test. So that would change that, but that's fine.
Write it down.
Oh, I do actually have pen and paper right here.
All right, guys. We only have 8 minutes left, so any last minute thoughts?
Thank you guys. It was good to chat with you guys and get your inputs and get your stories.
Yes, it was a good chat.
Yes, thank you for support, friends.
Seriously, Spencer, if you make that list of challenges and want to like bounce it off of how can I creatively go around these challenges, I got you.
And feel free to post it to the group me, because I think that's where we get some of our greatest ideas collectively.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I have many answers for you, but I bet somebody in our group does.
It's a good idea.